Good morning, my name's Leah and this is my very first stamp video. So I'm doing this really just to, it's as a resource for myself actually, so that because I've got a brain like a sieve and I don't want to have to constantly research stamps. So as I research them, I'm just going to post a video, and if it helps somebody, great, and if it doesn't, well, it will help me. So it's all a win. So today I'm going to talk about this stamp here. Don't know if you can see that. So this is the 9D New Zealand stamp, and this is a 1935 issue. I have also here got a 1938 issue of the same New Zealand 9D stamp. I can tell that this is a later issue because the perforations are 13.5 by 14, and also it's grey black as opposed to the original, which was just more vivid, really. Like the colours are just much more vivid on the first one. So this stamp depicts a Maori Kawea door panel, and they were traditionally, their Kawea patterning was traditionally drawn in black, red and white. Only that palette, which was quite limited, but they did some really elaborate designs with those three colours. And Legrand actually attributes the Kawea patterning to free builders who had built new buildings on the island, and they wanted to adorn them with nice carvings and sculptures. And in short, a Maori god appeared to them. I don't know which god, but a Maori god. And he, in short, said that he didn't want carvings, they weren't good enough. Instead, he wanted a painted pattern. And so the Kawea scrolling pattern was evolved. It didn't just decorate the buildings, it also can be found on the boats that the Maori had, and also on the tattoos that they traditionally wore. So women and men both wore the Maori tattoos, and the women generally had them on the chins, I think, don't hold me to that, and the men had more elaborate all over face tattoos, and they were done in a blue or a black ink. Again, don't hold me to that, I might be fibbing, but as far as I'm aware, just that colour palette. Probably black, given that they only used the three colours, so I'm going to go with black. And they used to do this by sharpening bones. Now I'd like to think that these were the bones of the animals that were native to the island that they ate rather than ancestors, but who knows. So they sharpened the bones and then they would etch the design into the skin, dipping the bone in the ink as they did, and just making sure it went in there good and proper. And so the tattoos were born. The Maori people, the Maori, I don't know what happened there. The Maori people are indigenous to New Zealand, and they populated the island from eastern Polynesia. They came over in canoes. They didn't all come over at once. I believe they came over in like little dribs and drabs, so it might have taken them like a week or 2 weeks to get over. And they landed on the northern side of New Zealand. There's a tree there apparently that's been there for like, I don't even know how many years, but it's a big significance to the Maori culture. They believe that the spirit travels down the tree back into the land when they pass away. I think that's correct. They came over in the 13th century, and the Maori culture evolved as the Maori people learned to use the resources that were available from the island. So the livestock, the hardwoods that were available, the minerals, the plants, all of that had an impact on their culture. And they called New Zealand, when they first landed, they called it Aotearoa. I'm going to spell that because, again, pronunciation a little bit ropey. So it's Aotearoa. And that means the land of the long white cloud. So I think that was before pollution. I'm going to say it was before pollution. Might not be quite so white now, but it's a really romantic notion and I really like it. And the artistry of Maori crafts has actually impacted Philately in New Zealand for quite some time, so it can be found on a number of their stamp designs. So I would urge you to go away, have a little look through your New Zealand stamps and see what Maori influences you can actually find there. Interestingly, on a side note, the Maori culture is still the second largest in New Zealand, which I didn't know. That information wasn't readily available to me, but they are. So yeah, so that's that stamp. As I say, mainly as a resource for myself, but if it helps somebody get an understanding of the stamp that they've got, great. I hope you've enjoyed this, found it of some use, and I will be posting again, because as I come across stamps, I'm going to keep a log of what they, you know, the meanings behind them, some of the history behind them, a little bit of the culture, because that's the side of Philately that interests me personally. They aren't just pretty bits of paper, although they are also that. So yeah, I hope this has been